Yashim Shah, call her Yahweh Bashim Shah. All praises, glory, honor to Yahweh in the name of his son Yahweh Shah, who the Israelites know, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans know as God in the name of his son in the name of his son Yahweh Shah, God being Yahweh, in the name of his son being Yahweh Shah, Mashiach, who the word ignorantly called Jesus the Christ. Through the spirit of the power of Yahweh Fisherman of Zion, back with another video, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh in the name of his son Yahweh Shah. Through the spirit on this Sabbath day, Lord willing, you keeping the Sabbath to the best of your ability. You stand in the and you have a fear of the Most High, and you waiting patiently on the return of the Messiah to come. Peace and blessings to you, Lord willing, you enduring and strive as days. Just got to camp through the spirit, so we're not gonna be too long. Just doing a quick Sabbath lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shah. Peace and blessings to you, Lord willing. You're forsaking the flesh and the cares of this world to the best of your ability, and you're abstaining from all wickedness and folly in this world that can blemish your garment, and wipe your name out of the book of life. So we're gonna open up with a precept through the spirit power of Yahweh Shah. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh in the name of his son Yahweh Shah. We don't count this as a thing to do through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shah, because the Most High can't take the spirit away from me as well as anybody else. So this is not a light thing. This is, in the Most High's vineyard, as he has breath in me and his spirit is upon me. This isn't something that we should take lightly. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shah. Shabbat Shalom to those keeping the Sabbath Friday sundown, the Saturday sundown. Lord willing, this will be edifying to you. This is Psalms chapter 122, and I'm going to start at the top, and it reads, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord Yahweh. So another day to be glad that we able to pray and read the word, read the Bible, meditate on holy, righteous things. Forsake the flesh and the cares of this world. This is the day to be able to motivate your brothers and your sisters, your households, your children, your aunts, your uncles, and your cousins, to whomever the Lord grants you mercy to be on, and to be able to speak to strangers, to be able to speak the words of the Most High to that need healing. Because like the Lord said, those that be whole, be not a physician. So we all need to be whole, because we all are afflicted, and when I say all, I'm talking about the saints, Yasharala, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And we need the Lord. We need the Most High to guide us and to lead us by the still waters and the green pastures. So it's another day to be glad, Now let me get this in Deuteronomy 28, because when we wasn't glad, we was oppressed. We was carried forth into captivity. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'm going to start at verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord, Yahweh, thou Most High, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord, Yahweh, shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. So the Most High has, through the Spirit and his might, allow us to have mercy, to the point where even in our captivity, we're thinking ourselves right now. We're in a state of oppression, where we are calling upon the Lord, as he said in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 15, my people, if my people call upon my name, meaning we're keeping the commandments and the faith, the Lord is going to hear us, and he's going to heal our land, and he's going to bring us back together. So nevertheless, like the title says, this is a short lesson going into no sex on the Sabbath day. Keep the Sabbath day set apart. So we supposed to keep this day set apart from other days, because the Most High did say through his prophet, through his holy mighty man, that we are a special people. And being that we are a special people, there's stuff we need to consider and examine. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, and it reads, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord, Yahweh thy Most High God. The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we were supposed to understand that we are above others outside of the lineage and the DNA and the nationality and the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're supposed to understand that this is something that the Lord consecrated himself. This is a covenant that the Most High has made. This is a decree that no man can take away and no man can add, as it says in let me get it real quick. I don't want to butcher it. No man can add to this, disannul it. Now this is Galatians chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 16. Now Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He said not, and two seeds of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Hamashiach Christ. Verse 17. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of Most High God in Hamashiach Christ, the law which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. So nobody can add or take away from this. The Lord has set this up. So we supposed to understand that we was given the law, statutes, commandments, and this is our understanding and our way of serving the Lord, not how the world does it. You know. Now this is Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 1, and it reads: Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord Yahweh, Most High God of your fathers, giveth you. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your Most High God, which I command you. So we supposed to keep the commandments. And so the Lord instructed us the Sabbath day. Now this is Exodus, as we should all know. You know, now this is Exodus. We're gonna go to the book of Exodus real quick. You know, as soon as I hop out of the car, I gotta go on the highways and byways, but it's on my spirit to do. This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 8, going into the law, and it reads: Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. So we supposed to understand that the Most High has given us his nation of people, Israel, Yasharala, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, a command and instruction. And even Christ himself said he kept God's commandments. So if we're in the modern day understanding of how religion is set up, you know, and we supposed to be following after Christ, why did him himself say that even he obeys God's commandments, Yahweh commandments? So this is St. John, and I'm gonna start at chapter 12, and I'm gonna go to verse 49. I'm gonna start at verse 48. St. John 12 and 48. And the reason why I'm going here is because I'm showing that Christ himself also said that he keeps his Father's commandments. So we supposed to follow after Christ, being that we call ourselves Christians, followers of Christ. That's what that word means, Christian, you know, because you can read about that in Acts chapter 11, verse 25 on down, Acts chapter 13 on down. So this is St. John chapter verse 48, and it reads: He that rejected me and received not my words hath one judged him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the day. St. John 12 and 49. For I have not spoken of myself, but Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say, what I should speak. And I know, verse 50, and I know his commandment is life everlasting. So if we looking at the commandments, we know that it's life everlasting, meaning we're going to be now risen when the Messiah comes back. Death is no longer going to have power over us. These commandments and laws are going to be inside of us. Just the blood is pumping in our veins and our heart beating, and are able to do many things. That's how the word of the Lord is going to be able to keep us in a righteous sense, a life of mortality. St. John 12 and 50. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father sent me, so I speak. So there you go. You got Christ himself saying he keeps commandments. He keeps the laws, the statutes of the Most High God, Yahweh. And so like it says in Exodus 20 and 8, remember the Sabbath day to keep it. Now, being that this day is holy and set apart, you know, you have some that may say, well, this is my body, do what I want, you know. But let's see what Christ says. You know, they say what they want. They can add what they want to this understanding of this lesson. But let's see what the Messiah himself said. Now this is Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 19, and it reads, "What?" First Corinthians 6 and 19. "What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit?" Which it says Holy Ghost, but we understand that there's no such thing as a ghost, you know, Casper and things like that. The Most High is a spirit, you know. He has spirits that work on behalf of angels being sent to do things, and, you know, his powers and his wonders. 1 Corinthians 6 and 19. "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Most God, so like of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of God Most High, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Most High God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." So you can say my body, I control it. So if I want to have sex on the Sabbath, I'll do that. But you got to understand that this is a day to be set apart, because holy means set apart in the Hebrew. Now this is Isaiah, because a lot of people, they don't see it in the law where it says don't lay with your woman on the seventh day. So they might look at things and try to simple. But before I get there, let me get this. This is Proverbs chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 22, because a lot of people, they want to be simple. You know, just because it doesn't say no sex on the seventh day, on the Sabbath day, that doesn't mean you draw the line and you say, see, it doesn't say it anywhere. But you got to have understanding. You also got to have knowledge, and you got to have wisdom, and you got to be able to go to precepts and to back things up where edification comes in, you know, wisdom comes in at. So this is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22, and it reads, "How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge." So a lot of people, they don't want to be corrected. They don't want to increase. They don't want to grow. So they want to stay stuck in their own ways, which we're still living. We're still striving, and the Lord also to be perfect, you know, in Matthew 5 and 48, as well as Genesis 17. You know, so the Lord told us to be perfect. So how else are we striving for perfection? Because as long as we're in this flesh, we always going to fall short. We always going to have things war against us. You know, we're in the land of wickedness and evilness. So what we're going to use, and what are you going to do to try to mimic and do things different, how the world does things? Or else you're going to be doing things the same way everybody else does things. When Friday night comes in, a lot of people, they're thinking about going to the club, going to the bar, you know, shooting dice, playing pool, watching a game, you know, drinking, and all of these other things. So you, as being a child of God, as you striving for, and a woman of God, a man of God, an Israelite, to the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, how can you keep this day set apart from everybody else? You know, you gotta understand your heritage and your laws and your statutes. You know, so within the Sabbath day, there's statutes on how we're supposed to maneuver as a people, or else we're known as simple and hating knowledge. Now this is Isaiah chapter 58. Try to go through this as quick as possible so we can go on the highways and byways real quick, Lord willing. So this is Isaiah chapter 58, as well as with the other brothers, you know, that are out here doing the work through the Spirit. And Isaiah 58, and I'm gonna start at verse 13, and it reads, Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13, and it reads, "If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath day, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord Yahweh." So this is a day that's supposed to delight in, a holy day, you know, a day that we're supposed to honor, a day that the Lord has given us to look at and view as something where we can escape, as a day of rest, even though we're not going to be in our true rest until the Messiah comes, and then until he destroyed this place, you know, make things new again, you know, destroy the rulers of this world, who the world may understand as the founding fathers, and put the chains on all of the wickedness on, and cut man off from wickedness. So we got to understand that the Lord is the way of understanding pleasure. But when you go back to Deuteronomy, let's go to Deuteronomy, because a lot of people, they'll draw the line. They'll say, see, it doesn't say sex. But you got to understand, as we just read, In Isaiah 58, it says pleasure. So you can find pleasure within a woman. So a lot of men, they want to try to read the word on the Sabbath. They want to try to shalom, sister. They want to try to do things on a day in a fashion to where they think they can do it, and they think they can do the Lord's will, and then they think they can do their will, which you doing two different things. So not giving it to the flesh on the Sabbath, because there's many things that can take place on a righteous level or even on a wicked level. Even when you buy your significant other, when you buy your, you know. So Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 10, it reads, "Now this is the law: when thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy most high God had delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive." Verse 11, Deuteronomy 21 and 11, "And seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her." You know, Shalom, brother Hosea. Now this is Deuteronomy 20 and 11, and it reads, "And seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her." So we just read in Isaiah 58 that it says, "If thou take thy foot away from doing thy pleasure on the Sabbath day." So the pleasure, as we're reading about, and the, you know, is going into, as it's stating, desire unto a woman, you know, desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. So meaning you're going to have sex. So there you go. You find it within this statute, because you also find another statute on how you can keep the Sabbath day in Nehemiah chapter 10 verse 31 on down. You know, you also find it in Exodus 35, you know, 1 verse 2 and verse 3, you know, not cooking on the Sabbath. So this is a day that we can just connect with the Most High God and keep this day holy, you know. So as it's stated in Isaiah 58, you know, just for a recap, edification, Isaiah 58 and verse 13, it says, "If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day." So another way of understanding pleasure is desire, you know. And you got to understand that not all Israelites are going to keep the Sabbath day the same. You know, you got some, and this is not a video on trying to debate and go into the lunar Sabbath, or is it the Friday and now Saturday Sabbath. This is not a video to debunk any other type of Sabbath day. This is an understanding video on how we can keep the Sabbath day better. Because one thing that happens when you come near your woman, as well as if you're a man and you're a woman, when you come near your husband or your, you know, whoever you want to label him as, we should label him as your husband, your Lord, your master. And if you're a man, you should label her as a princess, daughter of Zion, being that you're a man, as your woman. When you deal with this, you know, it's restrictions and guidelines that you have to go by, because you're gonna be unclean. And when you're unclean, if you're going around others, how in the world can you go around others and not defile them? Because if you're unclean, the law says that you have to be set apart. You have to not be around others. So you may, you know, come in contact with a dead body, which makes you unclean for a period of 7 days. You may be a woman that has a menstrual cycle, which now that makes you unclean, which you should be set apart for a period of 7 days, you know. And if you gave birth as a woman, if you had a child, you know, you're unclean for a certain amount of days. If it's a boy, you're unclean for 40 days. You know, if it's a girl, you're unclean for 80 days, you know, according to the law. So you have to go into the Most High's commandments and laws, which he has given the Israelites, to understand the rules and regulations and the guidelines. Now, this is the law. This is Leviticus chapter, Lord willing, we can do about 10 more minutes, so we can get out the brothers. So this is Leviticus chapter 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 16. So this is our law on how we can maneuver in the land of the living, which we're gonna be around other people. We're gonna be in the midst of others that want to pray, that want to worship the Most High God, that want to glorify the Most High God. But there's a way about doing that if we're unclean. So if you lay down with your spouse, you can't just hop up and think you can go to camp, and now you're unclean and you defiling others. So this is the understanding we know and we have according to the Sabbath day. You can go to camp, you can go to the feast day, but it has to be at a specific time. It has to be when the sun goes, and we're going to read about that. So this is Leviticus chapter 15 and verse 16, and it reads, "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening." So now you understand, as you just heard the word of the Most High God, that when a man's seed of copulation, which he has his parts to be able to bring forth a soul, a vessel unto the Most High God in the living, it just state that when a man's seed, his sperm goes out before him, you know, which it should be for the case of a woman, you know, using it for that to bring a soul to the land of the living. It's stating that we're going to be unclean until the sun goes down. Verse 16, Leviticus 15 and 16. "And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even. And every garment and every skin whereupon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean unto the evening." So it may got on the sheets. So now you got to wash those sheets. It may got on your woman. So now your woman has to wash, and now she's unclean. Verse 18, Leviticus 15 and 18. "The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean unto the even." So now you and your woman is unclean. So you have no business going around others until the sun goes down, or else you're going to be unclean. And now you might, you know, when you're unclean, you can understand that even in Mark chapter 5, when the Lord had cast out the spirit, when Yahweh Shah had cast out that spirit from that specific individual, the unclean, wicked, demonic spirit went into the swine, you know, so swine is unclean. So now that spirit went into the swine when you read Mark chapter 5, and then the swine, they wind up killing themselves, you know. So things can take place when you're unclean. You know, we can go into many things, but keeping it simple so I can get out here on the highways. So let's Mark chapter 2 real quick. So Mark chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse Mark and the Gospel, Saint Mark chapter 2 and verse 27, and it reads, Saint Mark chapter 2 verse 27. It says, "And he said unto them," this is Yahweh Shah speaking, "the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath day." And this is how he cut up the wicked priests, the hypocritical priests and Pharisees, because they was getting on Yahweh Shah, the Messiah, for healing people on the Sabbath day. Which a lot of people, they may try to argue the case, well, you did just say that this day was made for man, so the Lord, he said it as holy as me laying down with my woman, or if a woman wanted me laying down with my husband. You can make that case in that argument, but you don't have any business going around no others, you know, because if that's the case and you wait till the sun go down, you're unclean, you know. You're unclean. And a lot of people like to try to get crafty with the Lord. They may wait right 5 minutes before the sun go down and do what they got to do, and then try to go around somebody else. You know, which the Lord, he knows your inventions, he knows your mind, so he can put you in a headlock and bring judgment to you, jam your body up, or whatever the case you want to understand how he maneuvers and how he brings forth his judgment. Now, I also wanted to touch on this real quick, because our foremothers, they kept the Sabbath day, you know. Our foremothers kept the Sabbath day, and this is Judith. I want to read this real quick. Our foremothers kept the Sabbath day, you know. Now, you can say, well, this is a widow. You can say, well, this woman is a widow, so of course she's not going to do anything. But we're going to see how she kept the Sabbath day. So this is Judith chapter 8, and I'm going to start at verse 4. Judith 8 and verse 4. Because this is talking about doing your pleasure, right? Because as we read in Isaiah 58 and verse 13, it says Judith chapter 8 and the Apocrypha. So if you don't have Apocrypha, like we always try to encourage you to get your Apocrypha, you know, it has the hidden books. Mine is kind of jammed up, as you can see. We always like to encourage other Apocrypha so they can understand where we're reading from, so they won't be lost when they're looking at the videos for whomever the Most High allowed to come across the gospel. the news, the good tidings, the word, the secrets, his will. So Judith chapter 8 and verse 4, and it reads in the Apocrypha. So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months. And she made her a tent upon the top of her house, and put on sackcloth upon her loins, and wear her widow's apparel. So this is what she did while she was away from a man, while her husband went back to the third heavens, and his spirit was in the land of the living. And she was by herself with the angel, and even though she had the Most High and the angels with her, around her, as well as we had family and things like that, but just mainly speaking on her being a widow. Judith chapter 8 and verse 6. And she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save this, she fasted besides these days. Verse 6, Judith 6. And she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save the eves, the Sabbaths. And the Sabbaths, meaning the before the Sabbath, because we prep our food as Israelites before the Sabbath comes in. So when the Sabbath actually comes in and the sun is actually down, there's no longer the stove being on. There's no longer we just credit card, you know. It's no longer buying, no selling. It's no longer working, you know. So it says the eves of the Sabbaths and the Sabbaths, so preparation of the Sabbath, and as the Sabbath actually came in, and the eves of new moons, and the new moons, and the feasts and solemn days of Israel. So she was afflicting herself besides the Sabbath day. Now this isn't saying that you can't fast on the Sabbath day, but this is saying that Judith, she did these things and hallowed, and she honored the Sabbath day. She kept the Sabbath day. She kept the new moon. She kept feast of dedication. She kept Purim. She kept, as some may understand, Hanukkah, which is feast of dedication, which is coming up. She kept Nicanor, the day of Simon. She kept Passover. She kept the Feast of Tabernacles. She kept these high holy days, you know, and she fasted besides that. Even though we know the Messiah, he fasted on the Sabbath day. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, you know, and we're not saying it's a sin to fast on the Sabbath. We just using this as understanding on how we can maneuver and keep Sabbath day holy, you know. So Lord willing, you understand and you look at this a little deeper and understand that, you know, it's not wise, and you shouldn't, because there's so much more you could be doing, especially a man, especially if the Most High has given you his secrets and his wisdom, you know, because that's a big deal. If you know how to teach the Bible, you know, you could be glorifying the Most High so much more by being on the highways and byways. Let me get this real quick. This is Matthew chapter 4, start at verse 19. There's so much more that you could be doing besides you laying down with your woman and now you're unclean, which you could have used that time to win souls, as it says in Proverbs 11 and 30. He that souls is wise, that's what we should be striving for. We should be striving to the same spirit and mindset as Noah was when he was building the ark, and he was telling people that it was about to rain and that the land of the living was about to be cut off order for a dispensation amount of time, you know. And so where am I doing? What was Daniel doing? What was Noah doing? What was Ezekiel doing? Ezekiel had a wife too, you know. Peter had a wife too. Yeah. So a lot of our forefathers, they had wives, but what was they doing? They was more so doing the work of the Most High God. And even Paul said in 1 Corinthians that it's going to be as if you don't have a wife. Because a lot of times us that have wives, us men that have wives, we got so much responsibilities. We got to do. We got so much work that got to get done. So you just laying up with your woman all day. You know, the Most High may take some things and give it to another man that's more on fire. He may take some of your understanding away. He may take some of your zeal away. He may take some of that passion away and give it to another man, his wife and his children and his household in order. And he may take some of that talent and give it to somebody else and increase them. Because you as a simple-minded man or a double-minded man, you want to be laid up with your woman, and now you're unclean. You want to use that unclean excuse to not go to camp because it's cold and to not look at the Most High, where the Lord got a meal ticket for you, you know. And it may be for some You know, not trying to scare nobody, but just keeping it real. Lord, Lord, have we prophesied and taught in your name? And the Lord may say, I never known you. You know, depart from me. But you know, this is exhortation before that gets to that point. You know, you should be keeping it stay holy. You can lay down with your woman Sunday. You can lay down with your woman Monday. You can lay down with your woman Tuesday. You can lay down with your woman Wednesday. You can lay down with your woman Thursday. You can lay with your woman Friday morning. You know, you can say, well, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Well, that's a part of being a husband. You know, making time, whatever it is the household may need. You know, because it's more than just, you know, walking around and sticking your chest out saying you a man. A husband of a leader supposed to look towards Yahweh Shah, as Yahweh Shah looked towards Yahweh. And that man's supposed to provide that woman spiritual things as well as physical things. So don't wait till the Sabbath day, to Friday night. Hey, this is the only time I have where the Lord, hey, he gonna put you in a headlock, and he gonna put you on him, and he gonna have you on them ropes, and he gonna have you reconsider yourself. Because what's going on? The Israelites having to reconsider themselves, but think themselves in the land of their captivity. So you're going to wait till the Sabbath day when you can be doing the work of the Most High God. And he gave you that day to take your mind off bills. He gave you that day to take your mind off plantation. He gave you that day to get out of the rat race, being on a hamster wheel. And he gave you this day to meditate on his laws, meditate on his commandments, meditate on his statutes, meditate on them judgments that was given when somebody had to be put to a stone. You know, or the priest and the men of the Lord had to come together and figure out a matter on how we can make a judgment according to what the Lord has set for us to do. Now, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and I'm going to start at verse 32. 1 Corinthians 7 and 32, and it reads, but I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried care things that belongeth to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married care for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. So don't try to use precept to say, see, my wife, she asking me, you know, to get attention. She asking me to do this and that. You gotta understand, this is where wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and discernment comes in at, as well as this is where taking heed comes in at. This is where balance and judgment come in at. Just because your wife may have a spirit of attention come upon her on the Sabbath day, that does not mean you take that initiative to say, I fell short. My wife was tempting me to lay down on the Sabbath day. But even though the Lord said in Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 4, marriage is honorable in all, that's not an excuse and precept for you to use to magnify you falling short, and now you're unclean, not able to do the work of the Lord on the Sabbath day. So don't try to get crafty, because the Lord has always got bonus. So it says, 1 Corinthians 7 and 33, but he that is cared for the things that are of the world. That doesn't mean we supposed to go back into the world, you know. It's just giving us a exhortation and an understanding and edification on providing for our wife and our children, providing for our households, giving them the knowledge, giving them the word of life, giving them the commandments and the precepts, and guiding them and leading them to the Most High, Yahweh Shah. Verse 34, there's a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cared for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she that is married cared for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. And we're going to read down. I'm going to jump down to verse 36. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncommonly toward his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age and need to so acquire, let him do what he will, sin it not, let them marry. Nevertheless, he then it steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but has power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, do it well. So then he that in marriage do it well, but he that giveth her not in marriage do it better. Wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth, but if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord. And I want to get the part where verse 26. That's going into, as long as that man is alive, you're committed to another. Only if he's an Israelite, though. But it's not saying that woman should divorce if he's an Edomite or Ammonite or more Amalekite or anything like that. It's just better for you to understand that you should be with an Israelite. Verse 29, 1 Corinthians 7:29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that they that have wives be as though they had none. Because you got so much work you got to do. You have to put the Most High God first. And as a man, as a husband, whomever will watch this and understand and get edification is, you as a man, you got to put the Most High God first. You have to put the Lord first. So you putting the Lord first, he's going to protect your house. He's going to keep that lust spirit away from your woman. He's going to keep that spirit intact until it's a more suitable and balanced time to come together. Because you got work to do as a man. King David wasn't just laid up with wives, you know. King David was out there doing the will of the Most High. So, Lord willing, this is edifying to you. Peace and blessings to you. Shabbat Shalom. Keep the Sabbath holy. Keep this day set apart. Lord willing, you understand how to maneuver as a chosen vessel, as a chosen descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And don't just be simple and do your own things. Peace and blessings to you, fishermen of Zion. Lord willing, this was edifying to you. All praises to you. Yahweh, in the name of your son, Yahweh Shah. Call Allah Yahweh by Shema Mashak Yahweh Shah. Shalom.